The world of British television had always seen Ben Shephard as the steady heartbeat of morning shows, warm, witty, and endlessly dependable. Behind every broadcast, behind every grin that made viewers feel like they were sharing breakfast with an old friend, Ben carried a quiet glow that never seemed to dim. But away from the cameras, life had taken a sharp and unexpected turn. After weeks of brushing off tired days, stubborn aches, and moments where he felt just a little unlike himself, Ben finally faced the truth doctors placed in front of him. It was serious. Serious enough to force him to pause the non-stop whirlwind of studios, scripts, and cheerful banter he'd always powered through. He described the moment as if the ground beneath him shifted, like the world he'd built cracked just slightly at the edges. Ben, usually the calmest presence in any room, felt emotions hit him harder than he expected. For a moment, even his trademark humor couldn't rescue him. But the moment that truly shook him came when he had to tell Annie. Ben always said Annie was the one person who could read him like a book, even the chapters he tried to hide. And when he shared the news, her reaction was instant. She grabbed his hands and tried her best to be strong, but her voice trembled, her eyes flooded, and all she wanted to know was whether he was okay, whether he was hurting, and what they needed to do next. Even through her tears, she still tried to make him laugh, classic Annie. She joked that if the universe thought it could break the two of them, it clearly underestimated her stubbornness. The moment was heartbreaking, but somehow still filled with a strange, fragile humor the two of them had always shared. From that day on, Annie became a full-time guardian of his well-being. Appointments, test schedules, even making sure he actually ate during busy days. She was there, steady as ever. She even developed what Ben now calls her protective hawk stare, which she uses on anyone who looks like they might stress him out. Back at ITV, people began noticing the shift. The jokes were still there, the charm never faded. But every once in a while, Ben drifted off mid-conversation or seemed quieter than usual. Once the truth quietly spread, the whole studio seemed to gather around him in spirit. Friends offered support, some offered terrible jokes, and others simply stood by, ready for whatever Ben needed. When the public eventually learned, the reaction was immediate. Messages poured in from viewers who felt like they'd grown up with him. Stories of mornings he'd brightened, days when his humor or kindness helped someone through something tough. People were shocked, emotional, and overwhelmingly supportive. Ben said he never realized how many lives he had touched until then. At home, he and Annie spend their evenings talking through plans, treatment options, and the little things that matter most, like the way Ben still refuses to let her make tea because he insists she gets the water temperature scientifically wrong. She insists he's being dramatic. He insists he's right. Their playful arguments became a kind of comfort, a reminder that not everything had changed. And despite the fear and uncertainty, their bond grew even stronger, not in some dramatic movie-style way, but in the quiet, everyday moments, holding hands a little longer, laughing at ridiculous things, finding strength in each other even on the harder days. Ben is stepping back from work for now, focusing on healing, on family, and on staying hopeful. He's grateful, deeply, for every message, every kind word, and especially for Annie. He once said that seeing her cry hurt more than anything else, but seeing her stand up again, fiercely determined, gave him courage he didn't know he had. The road ahead won't be simple, but Ben isn't walking it alone. He has Annie beside him, friends supporting him, and an entire nation cheering him on. And through it all, he's still the same Ben. Funny, warm, and trying to make others smile even when he's facing challenges of his own. Because that's who he is. And that's why so many people are rooting for him as he begins this new chapter. One filled with uncertainty, yes, but also strength, love, and hope.